Breath of the Wild is without a doubt the most complex and detailed Zelda game in the series to date. You might have past games that feature Hyrule taken over by the Gerudo King of Thieves Ganondorf, a land trapped in a Stranger Things-like parallel world of Twilight, or even a world where Hyrule has been flooded into a great sea, hiding the remains of the kingdom deep below the waves. Breath of the Wild, on the other hand, makes those games look like nothing in terms of their game world. The post-apocalyptic kingdom of Hyrule is filled to the brim with content, so much that most players don't even see the entire game's contents by the time they've finished playing. I've talked a lot about this game on the channel, but the amazing thing about Breath of the Wild is that we just keep on finding out about new things, almost 3 years after its release due to how much work was put into this game. Something that I've been interested in within the game recently is the NPC characters and some of the stories they have to tell. Whilst most games' NPCs are nothing more than just, well, characters to fill the world, with a small amount of them actually having a story or involvement in the game, Breath of the Wild has a story behind every single character, whether it be just a small amount of info about the character themselves or a fully fledged story along with a side quest or two. Today, joined by Hailey and Luke, we are going to go over 5 of Breath of the Wild's most interesting characters. Go grab yourself a snack or a drink, and let's get into the video.
Number 5, Moza. Kicking off our list takes us to the lake region, specifically right on the edge of the region, right next to the Gerudo Desert. If you make your way up to the cliffs looking over Osera Plains, specifically the area by the Ishto-So Shrine, well, technically, you don't need to get up close to know this character is here, and I'll explain why in a moment. Up here we can find Moza, a wannabe cook trying to teach herself how to cook. As you can see by her masterpiece in the cooking pot, she isn't very good. Moza is so awful at cooking that from a distance you can see what appears as a smoke signal from her locations, which is actually just how burnt her meal is. If we talk to her, she explains to us that she is devoting all her time to learn to cook, taking it so serious that she has isolated herself up on these cliffs. We can then ask her to teach us a few of her recipes. Her recipes range from the lavish meat dish, the ancient meat dish, and the ultimate survival dish. Going off her ongoing progress, I'm sure you can work out how these 3 meals are. The lavish meat dish consists of bird meat or steak, which is normal enough but also involves adding in ore. The ancient meat dish starts with bird meat or steak as well, but also includes some broken guardian remains. Last but not least, the ultimate survival dish is literally just a ton of monster parts. Obviously, all of these meals are horrible, resulting in making dubious food or hard rock food, but Moza is fully convinced that these meals are good. What's even stranger is that she decided to set up her little camp right next to a dump. Perhaps all this gross waste is the remains of her many attempted meals. We can see bones and flies in the mess, so it does suggest it's the remains of something. Moza makes this list purely down to how bizarre and funny her story is. She is a wannabe cook who just doesn't realize what she is making really isn't working. Gordon Ramsay would not be proud.
Number 4, Pecango. Now we have a more well-known character in Breath of the Wild. Pecango, a lifelong adventurer and artist, can be found in Kakariko Village, and whilst his race is of Sheikah origin, he is not originally from Kakariko Village. This is explained to us when we first talk to him. He tells us that he likes to travel the land and also likes to paint the scenes he comes across on his adventures. He heard about the Great Fairy Fountain near Kakariko Village, but because he isn't from the village, the residents won't tell him specifics on the fountain's location, due to the Sheikah's secretive nature. After obtaining the camera Sheikah Slate Ruin, Link can then return to Pecango and help him out. Pecango somehow got info on a rough location of the fairy fountain, and will ask Link to join him in checking it out. Unfortunately, Pecango is past his younger years and doesn't have the energy to travel all the way. He asks Link to go on, and if he sees the Great Fairy Fountain, take a photo. This is why you needed the camera ruin. If Link follows through with his request and takes a photo for Pecango to see, he will thank Link by helping him out with his lost memories. This is because when Link obtained the camera ruin, it loaded a bunch of images of locations in Hyrule that Link must travel to in order to recover his memory. Pecango will help Link when Link shows him an image from the Sheikah Slate, first helping Link out with the Lineru Gate memory, to then travelling around the world to work on his paintings, but also helping Link out as they both travel and eventually meet. Pecango is one of my personal favourites in the game because he shares so many similarities to Link, such as being a keen adventurer, along with the fact that he helps Link out so much and can be found all across the kingdom. There aren't many characters that you can find across the entire world in various locations.
Number 3. Pokey. Moving to the vast landy landmass of Hyrule's Gerudo Desert, we have Pokey, a Gerudo lady with a very interesting personality which doesn't show when you first meet her. Pokey can be found way out in the middle of the desert at the Misei Suma Shrine. She can be found nearly passed out laying her body over the shrine pedestal. If Link talks to her, she will respond with, "I'd just found the shrine too," talking to herself, trying to catch her breath with every sentence, along with how dry her throat is and how she can't move a muscle, even contemplating if this is the end. Then says, "I wish I could have one last taste, one sip of an ice-cold noble pursuit." This then kicks off a side quest where you must head back to the bar of Gerudo Town, the Noble Canteen. Speak to the owner Ferosa and inquire about the previously mentioned noble pursuit. After you head to the Gerudo Desert's ice house in order to make the drink, you can then let Pokey know it's available at the bar again. She will then suddenly get spurred on by this info and begins running back to Gerudo Town. The woman who felt she was hanging on for dear life is suddenly running through the scorching hot Gerudo Desert for a drink? Now you may think that makes sense, but the noble pursuit is actually alcohol. Although it's not explicitly said in the game, which makes sense because it's still a Nintendo game, the noble pursuit is the game's alcohol, along with the other drinks on offer at the Noble Canteen. I find Pokey so interesting because, as mentioned, this is a Nintendo game and they have essentially put an alcohol addict running across the desert for a quick swig in their game. It's little stories to characters like this that really makes me admire and respect the amount of work put into Breath of the Wild.
Number 2. Hagi. Now we are getting to a character some players may have never met. Hagi can be found in Terrytown. Spoiler alert for Breath of the Wild, the town which can be built through arguably the best side quest in the game involving Hudson. We won't go too much into that side quest as it's best to just experience it for yourself. Long story short, after you help Hudson build the town, which was previously just a bunch of rocks, a man named Hagi can be found looking out onto the Tauren wetlands, a plain littered with guardian remains and 2 live guardians still haunting the plane of trees today. Hagi is a very rich man. If Link talks to him, he will ask Link if he can go and fight the 2 live guardians and take them out for him, purely for his entertainment watching on from a safe distance. In attempts to get Link to agree to this offer, he offers 100 rupees of a down payment up front, and then if Link is successful in taking out the 2 guardians, Hagi will pay Link a further 20 rupees. So Link pockets himself 120 rupees for taking out a couple of guardians for a rich man's entertainment. If you return after doing this quest and talk to Hagi again, he will respond very interestingly by saying, I got everything I wanted, but I'll tell you, there are some things out there. Things that all the money in the world can't get you. Showing us that this man could have easily paid Link to do so much more crazy and wacky tasks purely for his entertainment. Number 1. Yuma. Near the southern coast of Hyrule, we can find Hiteno Village, a peaceful and unaffected village from the Great Calamity, tucked into the land by the surrounding mountains and hillsides. Hiteno Village is one of the best places to live in Hyrule following the Great Calamity 100 years ago. The residents of this village in the present day of Hyrule, however, weren't even born when the tragedy of Calamity Ganon hit the Kingdom of Hyrule. All but one resident of Hiteno Village. During the day, in the centre of town, just outside the Great Tonpu Inn, we can find an old, fragile Hylian lady called Yuma. She is the wisest of all in the land.
This remarkable lady is full of knowledge. We don't know how old she is, but we do know she was born around the time of the Great Calamity. She tells us this if we ask her about the Great Calamity. She will tell Link how she wasn't born until after the initial attack, born during the Age of Burning Fields, with that term being capitalized. This implies this is a real term within Hyrule for the period directly after the attack from Calamity Ganon. I find Yuma so interesting due to how much knowledge she has on the time frame directly after the Great Calamity, as not many people survived the attack, and many that did are long gone now due to old age.
It's so rare to find someone like Yuma, 100 years on after the Calamity. She can even inform Link about Hyrule Castle and Castle Town if he asks. Yuma is definitely one of my favourite characters in Breath of the Wild in terms of NPCs and non-main characters. This lady certainly has some stories to tell. Thanks a ton for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Zelda content. What do you think? Who are some of the most interesting characters and NPCs in Breath of the Wild in your opinion? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Big thanks to Luke for joining me on this one. We did another video over on his channel discussing what a potential Twilight Princess HD port to the Switch could be like. Be sure to go check it out through the card in the top right or the link in the description. Huge thanks to all of my wonderful Patreon supporters for the amazing support you give me on a monthly basis. It means the world to me and really helps me to run the channel. Thank you all so much. Again, thanks for watching, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.